Is this a squad?
Yes, my squad.
Are they nervous at all for you, Mike?
No, they're nervous for your brother.
Mike Tyson just shocked everyone, especially Jake Paul, the guy who's been running his mouth non-stop, even mocking Tyson's health issues. Bad idea. Tyson just reminded us all why he's known as Iron Mike, and Jake learned that the hard way. Here's a little lesson for Jake: when a legend with more experience, skill, and even age keeps quiet, it's not because he's weak or scared to speak up, it's because he doesn't care about your nonsense. But if you poke the bear enough, be prepared for the consequences. Jake Paul strutted into that press conference on August 18th like he owned the place, full of arrogance after his recent win, but Tyson put him in his place, showing that respect goes a long way, especially in the ring. Mike Perry acted like he had the whole world backing him, throwing out lines like, "I'm not scared, I was born for this moment," as if he was some kind of chosen one. But guess what? Mike Tyson wasn't buying it. Tyson didn't even flinch. Instead, he let Jake's bravado roll off him, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. And strike he did, but not with his fists. Mike Tyson isn't just known for knocking people out cold in the ring, he's a master at messing with their minds long before the first punch is thrown. If you thought Tyson's punches were deadly, wait until you see what he does with his words. Tyson went straight for Jake's Achilles heel with his verbal blows. Tyson targeted Jake's fitness with just a few words, bursting the bubble of Jake's overconfidence by saying, "Be in good shape, because your health depends on it." Ouch, that hit right at Jake's ego, and everyone could see it. But this wasn't a loud-in-your-face comment like you might expect. Instead, Tyson calmly pointed out the obvious: Jake's fitness, or, to be honest, the lack thereof. He didn't need to raise his voice. His subtle jab about Jake packing on too many pounds spoke volumes. We all know Jake Paul has a big mouth, but Tyson's quiet, sharp words hit harder than any shout ever could. But the buzz isn't about Jake's usual loud antics, it's about his gut. Yep, Jake's been looking a bit puffier lately, and people aren't whispering anymore. His fitness, or rather the lack of it, has become the hot topic, and honestly, it's not a good look. While he's been out living the high life, partying like there's no tomorrow, fans and critics alike are shaking their heads, wondering if he even knows what a gym looks like anymore. Jake didn't take it well. His cocky smile faded quickly, and he shot back defensively, clearly rattled by the criticism. Jake's defensive response was all the proof anyone needed that Tyson had struck a nerve. The cracks in Jake's armor were showing, and he knew it. The guy who had been all swagger and bravado just moments ago was suddenly on the ropes, mentally scrambling to hold his ground. This was more than just harmless banter. Tyson had exposed a weakness Jake had been trying hard to hide. In a fight like this, psychological warfare is just as crucial as the physical battle. Tyson didn't bother matching Jake's energy. He stayed calm, almost too calm, watching Jake with a look that said, "I've seen 1,000 guys like you." It was clear Tyson's experience went beyond the ring, mastering the mental game as well. And they all end up the same. Tyson knows exactly what he's doing. He's been in the game too long to let Jake's wannabe tough guy act throw him off. Tyson's comment wasn't just a throwaway line, it was a jab straight to Jake's ego, a calculated move to mess with his head. And let's be real, it worked. Jake tried to play it cool, but his quick, almost panicked response said it all. The guy was rattled. When your confidence is as shaky as your conditioning, that's a big problem. The whole room felt the shift. People started chuckling, but not just because it was funny. There was a sense of, wait, is Jake actually ready for this? It's one thing to talk big, but if you're not prepared, all that bravado doesn't mean much. If you're huffing and puffing halfway through the fight, all the swagger in the world won't help you. Tyson, being the legend he is, knows that. He's been through this before. He knows how to break someone down without even breaking a sweat. By the time the press conference ended, it was clear who had come out on top, at least in the mind games department. The media was buzzing, and the headlines practically wrote themselves. Jake Paul's bravado had finally met its match. Tyson had shown the world that he's not just a fighter, he's a strategist, a master of the mental game. Jake's weight gain is the big red flag waving in front of everyone's face. Tyson called him out, and now Jake is scrambling to prove he's not just all talk, where Tyson has already planted the seed of doubt, not just in Jake's mind but in everyone watching. And when people start doubting you, especially before the fight has even started, you've already lost half the battle. Now, the big question isn't whether Jake can win this fight, it's whether he can even make it through without gassing out. The press conference wasn't just about promoting the fight, it was a battle of wits, and Tyson clearly won. The event was more than just a press conference, it was Tyson playing mental chess, and Jake was clearly a few moves behind. As the days tick down to fight night, Jake won't just be sweating in the gym, he'll be sweating over Tyson's words. Every time he looks in the mirror or steps on the scale, those doubts are going to creep back in. That's exactly what Tyson is counting on. By the time the bell rings, Jake might already be beaten not by Tyson's fists but by his own insecurities. Jake's confidence seemed to rest on his recent win against Mike Perry, as if that single victory made him unbeatable. But beating Perry is one thing, facing Tyson is a whole different level of danger. Tyson isn't just powerful in the ring, he's a master at getting inside his opponent's head long before the first punch is thrown. Deep down, Jake knows this. That's why his over-the-top confidence felt so hollow, as if it was all for show, effective only until someone dared to challenge it. Tyson's calm demeanor and subtle jabs have already put Jake on the defensive, and just when you think Jake might regain his footing, Tyson is ready with another psychological blow. Jake Paul couldn't get more disrespectful. He came out swinging with a low blow, mocking Tyson's health. You had to go on your little menopause break and postpone the fight. Your tummy hurts still clearly. Taunting a legend about needing a menopause break is a smart move, right? But that's Jake for you, classy as ever. He's made a career out of being the cocky underdog, the loudmouth who somehow manages to back it up at least against opponents who are all bark and no bite. But this time it's different. The stakes are higher, and Tyson is a different caliber of fighter altogether. Jake Paul's taunts weren't just about mocking Tyson's health, they were a blatant attempt to get inside his head and question his mental toughness. Tyson knows how to dismantle an opponent's defenses long before the fight even starts, focusing on Jake's ability to handle pressure under the brightest lights. When stepping into the ring with a legend like Mike Tyson, physical condition isn't just important, it's everything. Boxing is about surviving those landing punches and having the stamina to keep going when every muscle screams to stop. Even in his later years, Tyson remains a beast, and Jake's conditioning might be the deciding factor. Talking tough is easy, but when the fight gets real and the punches start landing, that's where true strength is tested. When the punches start landing and your body begins to betray you, that's when the truth comes out. If Jake isn't in peak shape, Tyson will see it and make him pay. Tyson isn't a rookie, he knows exactly how to exploit weaknesses, and if Jake's fitness is lacking, it'll be a glaring target. Just when you thought Jake Paul couldn't ramp up the arrogance any further, he goes all in with, "I'm knocking this tri-scout out, and we'll see who's dead." We will see who's dead. Might bold words from someone who hasn't faced a real legend in the ring yet. But that's Jake, never short on bravado, even when he's clearly in over his head. In the lead up to this fight, Jake Paul has been doing his best to maintain his usual bravado, but his quick defense of his conditioning reveals that even he knows it's a weak spot. This fight isn't just about who can throw the hardest punches, it's about endurance and who can keep going when the going gets tough. Tyson's comment was a strategic strike aimed directly at Jake's confidence. The reality is, if Jake isn't in peak form, he could be in for a rude awakening when the fight begins. As the big day approaches, everyone is watching Jake's conditioning closely. Will he rise to the occasion, or will his lack of preparation be his downfall? Tyson's words have already started to get under Jake's skin, and that could end up being the biggest factor of all. In boxing, just as in life, it's not about how you start, it's about how you finish. If Jake isn't in top shape, both physically and mentally, he might be in for a lesson he won't soon forget, courtesy of one of the greatest fighters of all time. Tyson's words were more than just trash talk, they were a tactical maneuver that could prove decisive. Tyson's words were more than just friendly advice, they were a clear warning. If you know anything about Tyson, you understand he doesn't make empty threats. November 15th isn't just another fight on the calendar, it's a ticking time bomb for Jake Paul, and Tyson is making sure he hears every second of it. With the world watching, the stakes have never been higher. For Jake, it's about proving his place in the sport. For Tyson, it's about preserving his legacy. The countdown to November 15th has begun, and the fallout will be felt long after the final bell. Jake must prove he can hang in the ring with Tyson or risk folding under the pressure. But you can't Instagram your way out of a fight. No amount of flashy posts or cocky one-liners will save you when you're face-to-face with Tyson. If Jake doesn't get it together, that face-to-face might be over quickly. Don't miss this epic showdown. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you're the first to catch all the action.